Hey guys, welcome to my second video about DraftKings Reignmakers, the new NFT based contest for DFS that they're launching for the coming football season starting September 8th, Thursday, which is 2 weeks from now, not 1 week like I was talking about in my last video. I'm going to try not to ramble as too much in this one. I noticed it was pretty rambly, but I am sort of going off the cuff, so just bear with me. I'm going to get talking in this video about the field pass, building lineups, stacking, looking at what profile wins for these DraftKings type contests, the cost of various cards, some bargains I see, and flipping are some of the things I want to touch on. I'll make sure I don't go too long. Try to keep these about 15 minutes. And again, use my referral code, please, if you're going to sign up for this. It's in the About comments. Because I'm not a whale, so appreciate it. One of the categories of cards I didn't mention yesterday is the Field Pass promos. And when you look at the Reignmakers under Shop, the tab, that's where you see the marketplace, basically, what I call the marketplace. Under set name, you can sort there. Field Pass promo is one, Genesis, Starter, Superstar, Booster, Elevate, and Prize. I sort of touched on those other ones previously. Elevate's the premium set, so to speak, that's for sale right now. Boosters are on sale all the time, as far as I know. Superstars are a one-time purchase. Starter is the free pack you get. Genesis is sold out. And prizes are prize cards you get. So the Field Pass was another early adopter one that they did in very limited numbers. And what I can tell, there's 7,500 of the core / common ones. And I think there's a total 2,500 on all the higher tiers, but that might be less. It's very excruciating to go through and capture data from this. I can't automatically scrape it, and their interface isn't the best currently. Hopefully they'll be upgrading it. So I've captured a lot of data, but I had to do it manually, and so it's been a couple days since I did some of this stuff. You really should do it every day, but if you're involved in a lot of different projects or jump around different projects like I do, it can be a pain in the ass. Anyway, the Field Pass promo cards are sort of like a season pass, I guess you could say. And they gave the original adopters who got in on it, who were pretty large, I think, in most cases, they gave them some immediate benefits. But what DraftKings has done to keep these with holding value throughout the season is, in addition to being a regular card of that level, so like common, rare, elite, etc., one thing they're doing is they're having contests for those each week. So, like for example, the first week, September 11th, if you look under the contests on that day, you can sort by tier core. They have a Field Pass contest. And what it says is they're going to do a snapshot on September 9th, so like, right before the game's Friday. I think that's the Friday. Or what is it? Yeah, the Friday. Field Pass holders at that time snapshot will receive contest entry tickets for all tickets up to the tier they hold. So if you hold a legendary, you're going to get it to all of them. If you hold an elite, you're going to get tickets to the elite, rare, and core, and on down. But the bottom line is, so this doesn't show any entrance yet because they haven't done the snapshot. There's 10,000 spots in this. And since I calculated there's 7,500 of these core that I can tell, then I'm assuming there's 2,500 on the higher levels. That's it. That's all there are. So you're going to get free entry to that if you hold one of the core basic ones. The payout on that goes from the first prize is a ticket to the Millionaire Fantasy Football, one of their Millionaire Fantasy Football. Second prize is $500, all the way down to $3 for 2,100 entrants, 2,200. So if you get this and finish in there, which I don't, it depends on how many entrants there are, and how many people hold multiples of these. If that one doesn't fill, or let's say you cash that one at the minimum, at the minimum prize amount half the time, you're going to make like, what is that? $24, let's say, $27 back. And they're going to have other giveaways. They're going to have other giveaways to the holders of the Field Pass throughout the season. They've already said that, and some of it's on their Discord and whatnot. You can look into the specifics of it. It's the kind of thing where they want to reward people who hold these and have them. But anyway, some people are dumping these cheap on the market, or they have, and it's something you want to keep an eye for, because probably the most profitable market purchase I've done on there was a Field Pass. I saw one of them listed for like $18, and the actual non-Field Pass common versions of that were like 12 to 15. So I'm like, buy. And somebody else quickly snapped up. There were only one or two even anywhere near that price. Somebody else quick snapped those up. So now the floor on that is over $40. And virtually all the Field Passes, the commons, are over $40 currently. They range up to the highest currently being Cooper Kupp, and well, this sorting is wrong. Josh Allen's the highest at $86 floor. Travis Kelce, $85. And this is on the core level. They're a lot higher on the rare, I'm sure. But even right now, there's two bargains on there. If you look at it in terms of, am I going to be able to get back my money just from these free entries to this contest that are limited as we go along? The two cheapest are Darren Waller, tight end, for $2,500. There's only 375 of these, so you're going to have a low serial number as well. The Najee Harris is the next one at $32. And I'm thinking the Najee Harris is a buy. I'm personally not going to throw $32 extra right into, because I don't have that in my balance. I've been allocating a lot already. But those look like buys to me when you consider all the other ones over $40. And even looking at the Najee Harris, first off, he's underrated this year in general. There are two. Oh my God, it just sold. Wait, this isn't sold. It just sold 16 minutes ago. I brought this up for this video. It sold 16 minutes ago. Somebody pulled it up at noon Eastern time, and it sold at 2 o'clock Eastern time. This is what I'm talking about, bargains, and being alert for them. Because now the floor is $42, and there's only another one, and then it goes up to $50. Okay? So right there, this person already on paper made $10, minus the transaction fees, because when you sell, they pay royalties to the NFLPA and I guess DraftKings. So I think it adds up. You have to look at the percentage. It's annoying, but that happens with these licensed products. Wow. So let's see if the other bargain's gone as well, the Darren Waller. No, the Darren Waller's still there. And that one, there's about 6 under $40. So you can get that for $25. Now, Darren Waller has been discounted this year, but he is in this set, and it's considerably cheaper than the next one up. Although their marketplace hasn't updated the floor prices correctly for me. Let me try it again. Try refreshing it. And then you got to put in the set name, Field Pass promo. Yeah. So now Darren Waller's $25. The next one up is Najee Harris at $42. Then Mark Andrews, $42. Kittle, $45. Herbert, $45. But Herbert's a superstar. Remember that. So superstar cards are going to have a lesser value because, again, you can only have one superstar per lineup. So they have less flexibility, so to speak. Anyway, that's about the Field Passes. I would say that Darren Waller's a buy, but people are discounting him this year. Again, I think the Raiders are being undervalued fantasy-wise. They can have multiple players do well. So building lineups. Depending on how familiar you are with DFS and DraftKings and whatnot, probably most of you are. You know something about this and what it takes. There comes in the question of stacking, which is like putting a quarterback with a wide receiver or a tight end or a running back or multiple each week. And I think stacking, you can go back. There's a lot of sites. Some of them are paid, unfortunately, but where you can look back at past data of what wins on DraftKings and other places, what the tendencies are. And remember, this isn't salary cap based like DraftKings regular contests. You can stuff it of the best players if you have those. So as far as stacking, I mean, one obviously idea that I like, is sort of to have the key quarterbacks with probably their key player. And if you have one of each, you can enter one of those into all the different contests. If you love just one of those pairs, you can have 20 of those and enter into 20 contests. Or right now, there's probably 6 or 8 core contests, not counting showdowns. But the stacking will give you a little more consistency, and also it can. I mean, they tend to do well. If a guy goes off, the quarterback throws 3 touchdowns to that guy, you're going to do well. But then you can stack with multiple. I mean, there's teams that the high-power teams have had multiple guys do well many times as well. But you're going to have a little more consistency in that, so you probably want to consider doing that. What I did look at is, because I actually didn't do much fantasy, even the past couple years, when COVID came along, I really got burned out on sports. I was like, oh, it's just terrible. But this year, I'm super back into English Premier League soccer and the NFL. So anyway, I went back and looked at what actually won the DraftKings Millionaire contest each week. What lineups won that? Now, this contest is salary cap based, so there are going to be there's a lot less of the no names that actually would pop up if you looked at like what was the perfect lineup each week, which that data is available as well, but finding it free right now currently is not as easy as, at least the place I used to use isn't free anymore. So anyway, I looked at what won the millionaires each week. And again, this is salary cap based, but there is some interesting things on here. If you look at it, okay, by position and whatnot, there's some interesting breakdowns. So on the quarterbacks, basically last season, 7 quarterbacks won all the contests, barring one, which was Cam Newton. Those 7 quarterbacks are all in the top 13 rated this year on ADP for quarterbacks. So from what you can infer from that is somewhere around the 13th quarterback level. And this isn't to say, like I said, there isn't to say there were weeks last year where a crappy quarterback got more points and was in the perfect lineup on paper. This is how actually it fit in. And actually, there are definitely times where the lesser ones come in. But if you want to be covered, let's say, getting each of the top 13 quarterbacks or that tier gives you the one of each that will set up as having good probability. Now, I actually would say the tiers go down to 15 this year, and then there's a tier below that down to 19 that I actually like those as well, especially when you look at their prices on Reignmakers. So when you're talking about going down to like the 15th quarterback, it's almost like, I guess you could say, the third tier. You're looking at Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, Cousins, and Carr. Now, I actually like all of those. In particular, I like them better than Rodgers, who's in that. But Stafford, Cousins, and Carr, they're underrated for this year. The tier above it's like Lance, Dak, Russell Wilson, Brady, Burrows, Hurts. Hurts was the quarterback I got free in my free pick. Tyler Murray, Lamar, Mahomes, Herbert, and Josh Allen. Of those, Josh Allen, Herbert, Mahomes, Lamar, and Aaron Rodgers are superstar cards. So that's why like Kyler Murray and Hurts and Wilson, and people like that are worth more, or are going to be worth more at times. There's actually another tier below that, which I think is a good tier as well if you can get them really cheap, which is currently projected as like Tua, Fields on Chicago, Trevor Lawrence, and somebody a lot of people are sleeping on, which is Jameis Winston. If he can avoid the interceptions, he puts up some good numbers. Then there's guys down below that I actually own as well. But what the numbers show is that for the millionaire winning lineups last year, virtually all of them came out of what is the top 13 now. What's interesting is that in those winning lineups last year, there was no Mahomes, Kyler, Lamar, or Hurts. So even if you did own, even if you did have some of these stud quarterbacks, you might not have. I just found that interesting. How that some of it's because their salaries were high, and those are actually some of the running quarterbacks, which people always tend to focus on sites like DraftKings, especially, which just shows you they didn't actually work out last year. There was more of the pocket passers, possibly because of salaries, and possibly because less people took them. So last year, like Allen came in 3 times, Burrow came in twice, Brady came in twice, Herbert came in once, Stafford came in 3 times, I believe, Dak came in once, Aaron Rodgers came once, and Cam Newton came in once. So if you're looking at, now these prices are from a couple days ago, they might have gone up, but the bottom tier below the 15, Tua, Fields, Lawrence, those were going for $7 to $9 cheapest. The next sort of group up was like $13, $12. Then you have like $15 to $18 group. Then you have a couple that are over around 20, and then you have a couple over 25. And then the superstar ones are between 12 and 19. What's interesting is if you bought all of the 15 quarterbacks, the commons run about $300 when I checked. I think it's higher than that now at the low floor if you bought one of each one. Similarly, when you look at the running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends, just real quick. Boy, this video is going to run long. I can talk and talk. Shit. Similarly, the running back and wide receiver and tight end tiers were completely different. But if you look at the tier of basically where around those one contests, they end, and you look at where the core floor prices are, they each end up being around $300. Well, when I checked it, maybe higher now. Not counting the tight ends as well. So what that meant was, so if you wanted to buy one of each of the top quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, it was 300, 300, 300, even though there was a wider range of them. Because some of these had cheaper ones and wider ranges narrow. So they added up to almost $1,000 exactly. That's pretty interesting how the market's working on that. I'm not sure if DraftKings planned that or not. Then the next tier up, Elite, was running around $6,000, so probably 5 to 6. So it was like, if you want to buy all those, 1,000, next level up, 5 to 6,000. The next level up was around 50 to 60,000. And I didn't even look at the levels beyond that. I don't even know if there's contests. It gets so rare up above that level. So that's sort of telling you, okay, if you wanted to invest $1,000 right now and not flip any cards during the season, you could get one of each of all the top skill players. And you have to calculate for yourself if, can I make that back throughout the season in contests? Just something interesting. With the running backs, the majority of those came in under the top 45, I believe. Let me see how far down I went on that. Now, actually, the running backs, a good demarcation point was around the top 30, based on last year's millionaire winners on DraftKings. There were a few outliers, but the way to look at that, so if you go down to like the top 30 running backs, down towards the bottom of that, you're getting towards, I believe my spreadsheet's messed up here, Pollard, Gibson on Washington, who just got a pop because of an injury, Kareem Hunt, Edwards-Helaire, Chase Edmonds, Elijah Mitchell, Josh Jacobs, Dillon, Dobbins, Akers. Akers is up right now because it's in a showdown. David Montgomery, Breece Hall, Etienne, underpriced cards. I got those for nothing. Etienne in particular is underpriced. Ezekiel Elliott, Connor, Chubb, Javonte Williams, Fournette, Aaron Jones. I'm just reading sort of the ADP from up down. Aaron Jones, Barkley, Kamara, Mixon, Swift, Henry, Najee Harris, Cook, Eckler, Taylor, and McCaffrey. Of those, the first 6, I believe, are superstars. So, or is Najee Harris one? Let me double check. That might be why his card was so cheap. I think is he a superstar? They need to put an SS on these damn cards as well, or some kind of insignia to tell you, yeah, he is one. There's so many things they need to make this easier. So the top 6 running backs projected are all superstar cards. So they're going to have a little less value in some ways. But when you get down towards that bottom of that 30, a lot of them are $4 and $4 or $5 currently. So pretty good buys you're going to find in there. Like I said, and also you got to consider running backs have injuries and whatnot. So last year, as far as what was used in the main lineups, man, I messed up the spreadsheet. Sorry, but there wasn't a whole ton of overlap. Let's see. I believe like Henry, Taylor came in twice, Henry came in twice, Fournette came in multiple, Connor came in multiple, Mixon came in multiple, Patterson, Cordell came in multiple, Chubb, and then other guys came in once. But interesting on that list, okay, no Cook, Minnesota, no Eckler, no Kamara, no McCaffrey. Some of the top, and they love PPR running backs in DraftKings because they get a lot of bump. But what it could have been saying, in particular with the salary bases, they were overpriced last year. Whether that'll hold up for Reignmakers as well, you have to kind of see. Again, there is a salary, so to speak, in Reignmakers because it's the cost of the cards. with the wide receivers, there was less variance than the running backs. The wide receivers, almost all of them came out of the top 20-ish, I believe, down to 25. So owning the top 25 running back, wide receivers down to the top 20, depends on how you do your tiers, really, is a good call. Owning as many of those as you can. When you're looking at the ADP, when you get down to 25, actually 30, I went down to 30. Sorry, I went down to 30 because there were ones I liked all the way down there. So when you were down to 30, you're looking at Juju on KC, even Lazard, Godwin, St. Rob Brown, Bateman, Judy, Thomas, Mooney, Marquise Brown, Metcalf, Allen Robinson, Cooks, McLaurin, Sutton. Those are all, that's about to where you get to the 20th level. Then above there you have Mike Williams, Waddle, Deontay, DJ Moore, Higgins, AJ Brown, Debo, Pittman, Keenan, Tyreek, Mike Evans, Lamb, Adams, Diggs, Chase, Kupp, Jefferson. So 6 of those are superstars: Jefferson, Kupp, Chase, Adams, Lamb, and Debo. And again, I believe it was the top 30 added up to right around $300 on that. So it's 300, 300. It's really strange. When you get down towards the bottom of that list, again, you're looking at $4, $5, $6, $7, $8 ones versus, but then you're looking at the middle tier, $11, $12, $13. So there's a lot of good medium priced ones on that as well, depending on what you like and who you want to pair up. So like, you know, pairing up a Cousins and Jefferson was like $28. You could add in maybe a Thielen or a Cook if you wanted to. Pairing up a Trevor Lawrence and an Etienne is dirt cheap, or Trevor Lawrence and another car. Pairing up a Tua with somebody's cheap. Pairing up Carr with this variety of weapons is cheap. So there's bargains on there. The tight ends were a very, very small group. Basically, almost the majority came out of the top 7 last year, but you had a Noah Fant, a Higbee, and a Gronk popping in there. Gronk popped in there twice. So I didn't count him in this year's because, you know, I can't really measure where he was. But Kittle, Andrews, and Goddard, and Kelsey. So when you look at the tight ends, there's a tier 1 that's 5 deep. I can definitely see going down to the second tier, which about 10 deep, and some of those are dirt cheap. So the tier 1s like Kelsey, Andrews, Pitts, Kittle, and Waller. Waller's being discounted below those, and to some degree Kittle is as well. The next tier down is Schultz, Goddard, Hockenson, Ertz, and Freiermuth from Pittsburgh. And those were running $2, $3, $4 on Reignmakers, and it really won't hurt you to have those because you can use them for the showdowns as well. So that's a quick breakdown of that. I think I've already gone long. When did I start this thing? I think I've gone about my time limit. So I'm going to jump on to the next video, and I'll give you some more information. Thanks. Have a good one.